The Forever Story is the best album this decade. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is Kendrick Lamar's best album. Denzel Curry's discography is better than Kendrick's as of now. Igor is a 2 out of 10 album. I'm Vonnie, the hip hop expert, and today I have some of the hottest and most insane takes on hip hop. Some of these are utterly disastrous, while others might have a point. I'm here to judge if these takes are trash or if they pass. Let's get into the first take. The first hot take I have here is The Forever Story is the best album this decade. Now we have to clear this up here because it says this decade, which means the 2020s, not the last decade. So this decade. I don't think this is that hot of a take. I think The Forever Story is my favorite album of this decade. You know, there are other albums that could get up to that with like Savage Mode 2, Mr. Morale, even GDLU, plenty of other albums, like great albums have come out in the 2020s. But in my opinion, The Forever Story easily takes the cake. It's one of my most played albums of the 2020s, easily one of my most favorite. Jid has probably been my most favorite rapper of this decade. So I don't think this is a hot take. This definitely passes for me. Next, we have Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is Kendrick Lamar's best album. Now, I do think this does fit the hot takes category because I'm going to disagree with this one. I would take To Pimp a Butterfly over Mr. Morale. I would definitely take Good Kid, Mad City over Mr. Morale. And I would probably take Damn over Mr. Morale. So for me, it would be Kendrick's fourth best album, which is still a great album. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone had this as their favorite album. So while I think it is a hot take, I don't think it's the hottest take we got here. So while I disagree, I think I can let this one pass because it's not utterly atrocious. Next, we have Denzel Curry is one of the current greatest. I'm assuming they're talking about greatest rappers here. Now, this is a tough one because there's a bunch of things that go into being the greatest. You have actual ability, you have success, and then you have your own personal biases of who you like the most. So let's break this down by category. In terms of actual ability, I do think Denzel Curry is one of the more talented rappers in the game right now. What I say is one of the greatest ever. In terms of ability, probably not. Now, in terms of success, he's definitely not one of the greatest. He's been severely underrated his whole career. So in terms of that, I can't really give him the greatest either. So far we're 0 for 2. Now, when it comes to my personal favorites, yeah, he does fit that. He is one of my personal favorite rappers of all time. So it depends on where you're putting this category. If you're talking about success, obviously not. If you're talking about ability, I could see it, but personally, I don't think he's one of the greatest ability-wise. And then if you're talking about personal favorite, then yeah, obviously you can have whoever you want for that because it's your own personal favorite. Music is subjective. So while I think this take is pretty far-fetched, I'm gonna put this in between trash and pass because it's too subjective for me to give it one or the other. Our next hot take is about as cold as ice with music is subjective. This isn't even a take, this is a fact. The only thing about music that isn't subjective is something that comes with like statistics or facts. If you're talking about someone's success in the charts or how many platinum albums they have or how many Grammys they have, that's the only part about music that isn't subjective. One person can think Eminem's the greatest rapper of all time and another can think Eminem's the worst, and neither would be correct, neither would be wrong. This isn't even a hot take. So I'm gonna give this a trash because you didn't listen to the assignment. Next, we have Heroes and Villains is Metro's best album. Now, I don't think this is that particularly hot of a take either because I feel like it's a two-headed monster at the top. I think it's Heroes and Villains or Savage Mode 2. And so whichever one of those you prefer, I don't think you're wrong with either. Me personally, I slightly prefer Savage Mode 2 over Heroes and Villains. So for me, no, Heroes and Villains is not Metro's best album, but it's completely valid and definitely gets a pass for me. I kind of already touched on this one earlier in this video, but our next take is Jid has 2 top 5 albums of the past 4 years. Now I'm going to stretch this out to 5 years just so it can encapsulate the whole decade. And I basically already said this when I was talking about The Forever Story being the best album of this decade. I think both The Forever Story and God Doesn't Like Ugly are 2 of the best albums of this decade pretty easily. I do have The Forever Story over GDLU, but in my opinion, I don't think this is a hot take coming from Go to Jid here, but some people are going to disagree. So while I don't think this is the hottest of takes, I'm going to give it a pass because I agree with it. We have a lot of Jid takes in this video, apparently, with our next one being, if Jid drops more and stays at relatively the same level of consistency he's at, he will go down as one of the greatest rappers of all time. Insane versatility and natural rapping talent. His writing is astounding, and he is already in the combo for best feature rapper of all time. Now, there's a lot to break down there. Saying he's one of the best feature rappers of all time, I completely agree with that. He barely, I don't know if I know a feature of his where he has missed. He just goes insane on features, and I just think that's pretty cold of a take from there. Now, we have, if Jid drops more and stays relatively at the same level of consistency, he will go down as one of the greatest rappers of all time. Now, this one's a tough one because at this current moment, he only has DiCaprio to The Never Story, The Forever Story, and God Doesn't Like Ugly. But he also has an upcoming album called God Does Like Ugly with Metro still coming out. So we would be 5 in, and he would have 2 10 out of 10 albums, in my opinion. So that already there puts you up in the upper echelon of rappers. I don't know how many rappers you could say have 2 10 out of 10 albums. Obviously, this is my opinion, but he's already one of my favorite rappers ever. Definitely one of my favorite rappers of the last decade, like I've mentioned multiple times. But he is kind of old. He's already in his 30s. But like rappers these age, I guess age doesn't matter that much, but it also depends on how much he wants to be in the game still. Say he hits 35, he's dropped 2 more projects and he calls it quits. Is that enough to put him up there with the best? I don't know, but I don't think that's that crazy of a take because like I said, he has 2 10 out of 10s already. He is one of the best feature rappers. And like you said here, insane versatility and natural rapping talent, those are both true. His writing is astounding. Astounding, I think, is a little bit of reach, but his writing is still great. So I think this is a hot take because it would take a lot. He already took a 2-year gap with The Forever Story and GDLU. If we keep up that pace, I don't know how we maybe get 3, maybe 4 more albums, which that would put you at 7 or 8, which I guess that is a good amount of the discography. So I don't hate this take. If he can drop like 3, 4 more albums before he retires, and they're all at a similar, probably slightly less quality, because he can't put out 4 10 out of 10s. That'd be insane. I just do think he'll have a case to be there. It's just the only thing that's going to stop him is he's not the most successful when it comes to charting and selling. So that alone is going to have people doubting this take. I think this is a hot take, but I think I agree with this take. So I'm going to give it a pass. So now we have another Jid one. But now we have JPEG Mafia has dropped better music than Jid in the 2020s and is better than him overall. So we got 2 takes here. Let's split it up. JPEG Mafia has dropped better music than Jid in the 2020s. One thing I will give JPEG is he's dropped a lot more music than Jid has. In the terms of quantity, yes, he has Jid beat, but I don't think a single thing he's dropped in the 2020s has been even better than GDLU. So I think I would rather take Jid's 2 10 out of 10 albums than a bunch of JPEG albums that are 7s, 8s, maybe a 9 at its highest. So in my personal opinion, no, JPEG Mafia has not dropped better music than Jid in the 2020s. So I'm going to give that a trash. And now let's get to the second part of this take with, and is better than him overall. I don't think there is anything JPEG Mafia does that he is better at than Jid besides producing. If Jid wanted to and locked in with producing, I think he could produce as well as JPEG Mafia. JPEG Mafia gets his crown for being experimental, and I just don't think that fits what Jid is trying to do. So in my opinion, you're wrong on the first take, but not that much. And then I think you are crazy on the second take. So I'm gonna give you a double trash for this take. Now this one hits me right in the heart. We got a lot of YouTube Shorts creators are bad at reviewing hip hop music. Now this one just doesn't really work in a way. I don't know how you could come to this conclusion, because there's 2 ways you can look at this. Essentially, this could be saying a lot of YouTube Shorts creators don't review hip hop well because they have different opinions than me. And if that's the take, then that's utterly insane. You can't say someone's bad at reviewing music because they have a different opinion than you. That's just weird activity, and you probably shouldn't be active in the space if you can't handle another person's opinion. But then you can look at it as, so like there's many formats that come with reviewing music. One of the most popular is the 10-second ranking all the songs. Oh, green's for good, red's for bad. Here's my overall ranking. You could say that's not a good review source because it's short and it doesn't give full opinions, but that's not reviewing it unwell. That's just you're looking for a different type of review. If you want to know everyone's thoughts on every song or overall album or what they liked and what they didn't like in full explanation essay style, then go find those videos. You can't say that this review format is bad because it doesn't do what you want it to do. Then go find that format. You can't say one format's bad because it's not what you wanted. If you want a certain format, go get that certain format. So I just don't know where this take has any merit at all. So I'm gonna give it a trash. Next, we have A Futuristic Summer. The Metro Boomin project that came out in 2025 was a fire project. I was not a huge fan of this project, but I wasn't tapped in with the Atlanta vibes. I'm not from Atlanta. I'm not even close. Never even been to Atlanta. So it wasn't for me. I can admit that. It's not my type of album. I was never going to enjoy it because it's just not what I listen to. But I can imagine for people who grew up with this sound and heavily love this sound, this was a fire project for them. So I don't think it's a hot take if this is your sound. If it's not your sound, you're probably not going to like it because it is one of the more decisive sounds. So you either like it or you don't. I don't. So I don't think it was a fire project, but I can understand if you do. So I'm going to give this take a pass. Next, we have another Kendrick Lamar take here with Damn by Kendrick is the best album experience ever. The individual songs aren't as good as some of his others, but the storytelling and symbolism in the composition of the album is pure genius. Now, I think this is a hot take for some people, but not a hot take for others. And I'm in the camp where I'm not. I don't think this is a hot take because Damn was my favorite listening experience of all the Kendrick albums. So I don't think this is crazy to say that it is his best album experience ever. You said the best album experience ever, which I think is a bit of a reach. I've had plenty, in my personal experience, I've had plenty better album experiences than Damn, but it was my favorite out of any of the Kendrick albums I listened to. So for that first part of it, I'll give it a pass. So while I agree it is Kendrick's best album experience, I don't think it's the best album experience ever. And I do think the songs aren't as good as some of his other albums, but as a whole, I would rather listen to Damn 10 times than I would listen to Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid, Mad City 10 times. Now we have a take that I personally love here with Chase by Aaron May deserves infinitely more love and is one of the top hip hop albums in the 2010s. Now I agree with this completely. Chase is one of my favorite albums of all time. I think it may be my most listened to hip hop album of all time. So I agree with you everything here. If you haven't heard Chase by Aaron May, tap in. It is literally one of my favorite albums of all time. So I'm going to give you a double pass for this take. We have another one here that I agree with a lot with. The Crossroads by Cordae is the best album of 2024. Now I was late to this album. I didn't listen to it on first listen. I was like a month after, 2 months after. But it was one of my favorite listening experiences of any album I got in 2024 and probably ended up being in my top 5 of the year. I didn't have it as my favorite. I think I do prefer Heartstone Psycho, Why Laud, and Samurai by Lupe Fiasco over it. I don't think it's that hot of a take to have this as your favorite album of 2024 because there's some absolute banger songs on there like Saturday Mornings, like Back on the Road. So I'm gonna give this take a pass. Next, we have Mrs. Officer is the best song off the Carter 3 by Lil Wayne. Now, I don't think this is that hot of a take either. I mean, it is one of the most streamed songs on the album, so it's not like it's some unknown, underrated hit. I do think it is my favorite song. Songs like Let the Beat Build, Mr. Carter, and many other on this can be your favorite. I don't think this is a hot take. I do think it's my favorite song, but I'm gonna have to give it a pass since it is my favorite song off the album. We got a two-parter here with Eternal A Take Two was experimental, but when it worked, it banged. And then we have Denzel Curry's discography is better than Kendrick's as of now. Let's start with the first part here. Eternal Take, the 2024 Lil Uzi album, it sucked. Let's just keep it bluntly, it sucked. I don't know if I would say, but when it worked, it banged, because I think there's one song off it that I still get replay, and that's Perky Sex. So I guess I do really like that song. So I guess if that's what you mean when it worked, it banged, and it only worked for one song, then yeah, I agree. But as a whole, I can't say it worked a lot. So I'm going to give this a slight trash, but I can understand where you're coming from. Next, we have Denzel Curry's discography is better than Kendrick's as of now. Now, I don't think this is an insane take if you like Denzel Curry's style. I think Denzel Curry has a more palatable style than Kendrick Lamar. So this isn't a crazy take in my opinion. I do think in a sense of quality, Kendrick Lamar's is better, but enjoyability, I think Denzel's discography easily clears. So while I don't completely agree with your take, I see the validity of it. So I'm gonna give it a slight pass. So you get a slight trash and a slight pass on this. Next, we have Marvin's Room is one of the best songs of all time. Now, I love Marvin's Room, and Marvin's Room is a great song, but I don't know if I would have it in my top 20 Drake songs, let alone one of the best songs of all time. But once again, this is just my opinion of the song. I can fully understand if Marvin's Room is one of your favorite Drake songs. I can fully understand if Marvin's Room is one of your favorite Drake songs, but it is not mine. So I'm going to give this take a slight trash, but that's only because it's not one of my favorite Drake songs. But I fully understand if it's one of yours. Another Jid take. This might just be the Jid episode. The Glory song from Jid is gas. They're talking about Glory off of his new album, God Does Like Ugly. And I fully agree. At this moment of recording, Glory is my favorite song off the album. I have listened to it the most. It is easily one of the best songs on the album. So you get a double pass on this take. Another Jid take. I get it, guys. It's the Jid episode apparently, but we have Jid's new album, God Does Like Ugly, is mid. I mean, I think you guys know what I'm gonna say here. I've spent this whole episode glazing the album and glazing Jid himself. So I'm gonna give this take a trash. It is my favorite album of 2025 so far and one of my favorite albums of this decade. So it's not mid, but music is subjective. So it's your opinion. You can think it's mid. I don't. So you get a trash. Next, we have a Tyler, the Creator hot take with Igor is a 2 out of 10 album. No rage bait, honest opinion. It is unlistenable. Sorry. Now, I used to agree with this when I was new to music, but then I listened to more music and I grew up in the sense of what I like to listen to. I think you'll understand in a year or two. I've been there. I fully understand. I was at that take. You can find the videos where I gave it a 3 out of 10. I fully understand where you came from back then, but you'll understand in 2 years. So I'm gonna give this take a trash. Another Jid take. I'm so sorry. I don't know where all these Jid takes came from, but we have God Does Like Ugly is better than the Forever Story. Barely. Now, this is probably right after the album dropped, so you had that recency bias, and I was there. I was close with you. I don't think I thought it was better. I did always think the Forever Story was better, but I thought it was close. I did think it was close. But as this moment, I think the Forever Story is clearly better, but I don't think it's like a huge gap. So this opinion isn't that crazy in my opinion. So I'm gonna give it a pass. Those are some of the hottest hip hop takes in the game right now. Most of them had to do with Jid, but that's not my fault, guys. It's not my fault. Let me know in the comments if you agreed with my opinion on these hot takes and drop some of your own for the next video. That was all for the video. I'm Vonnie, the hip hop expert. Peace out. I would give you the world, baby girl. You just gotta be worth it.